What's up, everyone? This is Wild Phil. Let's get wild. I'm going to try a new segment called Short Stories with Wild Phil, because why not? Why not make a short story instead of a long-ass podcast and save the best, right? Yeah, today, like the title says, Chicago summer camp and the boy who lost the ability to have kids, all right? It's a clickbait title. I admit it. So let me tell you what it was. I'm feeling nostalgic. So I want to share how crazy going to Chicago Park District camp was growing up. And what can I share? I mean, I went to this park called Hiawatha Park. I'm sure some of you watching are going to get nostalgic about it. It was like honestly the biggest park that I knew in my area, that I knew in like a 5-mile radius. I mean, it had like 4 baseball diamonds, football field, huge basketball gym. It was awesome. And I got so many memories there. Oh my God, I miss it. We used to play so much. I mean, I don't know if you ever played Jailbreak, which is, you got to hold on to somebody for 5 to 10 seconds, and then you put them in jail, and then the rest of the team has to break them out. We used to do that in the snow, and people would like sink their nails into each other, and there'd be blood on the snow. It was fucking great. Anyways, I just got so many good memories at that park. I remember at that park, like, see, I grew up in this neighborhood where, like I keep mentioning, it was all these old mafia mob guys or like cops or union guys. So it was just awesome because the community was great. But also, like, when 4th of July came, bro, the fireworks they'd set off downtown, people had in our neighborhood and nobody arrested you because it was all cops. It was all old mob guys. So it was literally like when 4th of July came, it was like that scene in Sandlot. It was awesome. But we're here to tell you about how a kid possibly lost his ability to have kids at the day camp. Let me tell you about this day camp. So it was fucking awesome because it was from 1st grade to 6th grade, and if you were in 7th or 8th grade, you got to be a counselor, which is like an assistant to the rec leader. You're basically his bitch. They didn't have a group for 7th or 8th grade, so you're helping out with the kids, which I was as well. And it was just fun because, especially for a poor kid, like, every week we had a field trip somewhere. I mean, I got to see Mighty Ducks when it first came out, Last Action Hero when it first came out, Free Willy when it first came out, Blank Check when it first came out. We got to go to every single beach, and it was so funny because, like, you could tell which beach was in the hood. I don't remember which one. It was like Foster Beach, North Avenue Beach, and you knew when you swam out to the sandbar and you're like scraping the bottom of your feet on broken beer bottles. Yeah, this is in the hood. And yeah, I don't know who wants to swim in Lake Michigan anymore. I mean, this is basically where you dump bodies. So, but it was fun. You got to go to free field trip, free field trip to Shedd Aquarium, free field trip to Museum of Science and Industry. And I remember the coolest thing. Everybody has like their quirky thing they collect, right? I used to collect every ticket stub of every single thing that I went to. I don't do it as much since COVID, I guess, but yeah, I have every ticket stub I've ever went to since I was a kid. And this fucking day camp, unfortunately, used to take us to Cubs games when Harry Carey would slobber all over the fucking microphone, this old-ass boomer. And the Cubs sucked in the 90s. So it was like, they sucked so much, they used to just film the floor level of seats because they didn't want you to know that the rest of the stadium is gone, which was so confusing for kids because it was like, you know, the day camp only gets the funds from the city. So it's like, how come the first 5 front rows are filled and then there's like 100 rows of nobody and we're all the way in the nosebleed seats? Like, can't we just move to the front? And then the claim to fame I got is I got a ticket stub of Chicago Bulls versus Raptors when they were in their prime. I'm talking about Rodman, Jordan, Pippen, Steve Kerr, Tony Kukoc, Luke Longley. So I still got that to this day. Anyways, let's get to this story, right? So about this kid losing his manhood, okay? So what happened is this day camp was run by the head honcho. Her name was Sharon McConnell. I don't think she'll watch this, but she was a Karen named Sharon. She was a fucking Karen, bro. She was one of those people that, like, we used to have this thing called Crazy Water Day, which was just basically everybody brings super soakers, and it was like one year it's like, so we're not going to allow water balloons anymore because somebody got pink eye from the rubber bursting in their eye. What if we used a balloon, like they're thinner? What if we used like a thin condom? No more balloons. Oh, yeah, it's getting sent home. All right. So then the next year, just super soakers, right? Yeah, now we're only allowing the one squirt water guns, the dollar store water, and no more super soakers because somebody got squirted straight in the eye and they got sent to the hospital. She ruined everything. And you can imagine if she's that cunty, that level of cunty, what her kid is like. Like, yeah. His name was Mike McConnell, and this guy ruined the most fun part of day camp. It was so before I get to that, it was, I just remember another fun thing was we had a talent show at the end of the year, and I just remember the first year the talent show was hilarious because we didn't have any black kids in our neighborhood. So for the talent show, the counselor wanted us to perform at the car wash. Car wash, yeah. And just, can you just imagine a bunch of 90s white kids trying to not stiffly dance to a black song? So then the next year, I had a metalhead as my rec leader, the guy who heads that grade. And we played, we did a rendition of Three Little Pigs by Green Jelly. That was awesome. That was absolutely awesome because I loved metals since I was in third grade. Now, speaking of these metalheads, so here's what happened. At day camp, these rec leaders, they're like these, it's like, all right, so say there's B6, which is boys 6. They segregated from girls and boys, and then, the grade you're in. So there's B6, 6th grade boys, and then there's a counselor, which is like a 7th or 8th grader helping out, and then there's a rec leader, the guy who leads the group, right? And this guy, the top 2 rec leaders, which was B5, B6, they were these metalheads. There was this guy, Wayne. He looked like, I don't know how to explain, basically Keanu Reeves from Bill and Ted. And then there's this guy, Julio, which he looked like he was in Mother Love Bone or Alice in Chains. Every day he wore jorts torn off, an American flag bandana, long ass hair. He looked like he was a grunge band member. And both these guys, like these guys are like, somewhere from 18 to 23. They're like, I'm doing this as a summer job. Whatever passes the day, right? Let's do whatever the kids want to pass the day. And sometimes, there was a lot of fun games that we played, fucking kickball, softball. But eventually it was like, today, let's learn how to play cricket because that's what Sharon wants. And the kids were like, fuck this, and nobody wanted to. So eventually, one day, one of the metalhead guys goes, you guys like wrestling? And this was the peak of WWF. You know what I'm saying? Absolute peak. I'm talking about like 1997, right? Mankind getting all bloody choke slammed. That was SummerSlam 99, I think. But either way, the 90s WWF was the best era of wrestling. And so he's like, you know what? I got an idea. So in the gym, see, here's the other thing. Sharon would be like, why don't you get the boys involved in gymnastics? And they had they had like that springboard with that, I don't know what the hell it's called. It's like a Twinkie on wooden pegs that you do the splits over. We're like, we're not fucking doing gymnastics. So he goes, I got an idea. We spread out all the blue mats in the entire gym. And then we went in the garbage and we took out all the cardboard boxes we could because, they would ship like free lunches and stuff to this day camp. And we started our own WWF kind of like Fight Club. Now, it wasn't, listen, this is Chicago. Shit is dangerous, but it's not as dangerous as it sounds because it was like we wouldn't really punch each other in the face. We wouldn't really kick each other. We kind of just tap. And if you punch, and depending on where it was just awesome. It was so much fun. It was like if you tap somebody in the face, it's a 5-second stun, right? If you kick somebody in the face, like in the shin, it's a 2-second stun. Whatever. So each person picked their own wrestler, right? Immediately, everybody, whoever was first, they were assholes because they picked the top 5 most popular: Undertaker, Stone Cold, Mankind, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, right? Hulk Hogan, whatever. And then was the rest of the kids. So I remember I was Road Dogg Jesse James. I don't know if you remember. He was the white dude with cornrows and D-Generation X. And we did. And what happened is we would use the cardboard, this garbage, as folding chairs. So if you got somebody in the face with a piece of cardboard, it was like a 10-second stun, which basically meant you instantly can pin them after that. And you have to pretend like you're stunned, like, in a Nintendo 64 video game. So here's what happens. These two kids are matching up against each other. And it was just so much fun because it was more professional, like Greco-Roman wrestling, like actual high school wrestling, than it was WWF. It was like, if you had Royal Rumble, you just had to push somebody off the blue mat out of the ring. That's how he did Royal Rumble. So, but here's what happens with this kid this Sharon's kid, right? He goes in. I forgot who he was, but he ends up getting stunned. And here's what we did. We like when we set up the mats, these blue mats in a square, on the corners we put those step stools that you have like in the kitchen. They're basically as tall as like those stools, those step things for when you take a shit and you need to exit that shit out. They're that tall. But we had those on the corners so that they're like a turnbuckle, so you can jump off of it and like elbow somebody or whatever. But we never really elbowed. Basically, if you could jump off that step stool and land like 2 inches from the person, they were stunned for like 20 seconds. That was an instant pin, right? We had these quick matches. And we're doing this, dude. It was so much. I mean, I never wanted to go to day camp more in my life when we were doing this wrestling shit. I mean, it was people came in and they would like bring, all the parents were confused because people started bringing like costumes, and like bandanas and like those like strings that you tie around your muscles, like Ultimate Warrior or something. And they were like, what the fuck are they doing in there? So Sharon's son versus somebody, right? He gets stunned. The guy clotheslines him, so he's laying on the ground. So now he's stunned for 10 seconds. So the kid versing him climbs up on the step stool, and he goes to jump on him. The kid who jumped was too afraid to eat shit, like on the side of his body or do like a people's elbow. So he basically jumped off the step stool and just landed on his feet. And we gave him the points, whatever. And the thing is, like, the thing that was the most fun was it was kind of like acting, when somebody, we all knew wrestling was scripted. So when somebody, smacked you in the face, we'd be like, oh God, it hurts so much. Oh, we would act like they do in WWF. So when this kid jumps off the step stool, he lands 2 inches away from this kid's Mike McConnell's leg. Mike McConnell's like, oh my God, that hurt. Oh Christ, help me. We thought he was acting. And then he goes to pin him, and we're like, dude, you can stop acting. You can stop acting. This kid that jumped off the turnbuckle jumped in the air. I don't know how high he jumped. He was maybe, the max he got was probably like 2 feet. But then he stomped right on his fucking ball. Stomped on his nutsack. Not on his nutsack, on his ball. Basically burst his ball in half. So bad that he ran outside. There was a blood trail, and he had to get taken away in an ambulance. I don't know if this kid ever had kids, but this motherfucker ruined it. His mom, who ran the camp, went nuts. She didn't know what to do. It was like, if they're gonna fire anybody, she's got to fire everybody because there's no way you would hire people quick enough because everybody was part of this thing and everybody enjoyed it. But that was the last we ever did wrestling, and it fucking sucked. I hope you're not having kids, Mike McConnell. Go fuck yourself. That's my short story about Chicago Day Camp. You know what? Actually, let me tell you a bonus story, quick little bonus story that I remember because this was absolutely hilarious. So I remember when I was in day camp, we were in Hiawatha Park. We used to have to walk, I think it was 3-4 miles. Something, I don't know what the distance is. I mean, Here. Okay, Google, how far is Shabona Park from Hiawatha Park? Okay. It's 1.5 miles. It seems like it's 4 miles for a little kid. Anyways, so Hiawatha Park, I told you it's all like 4 baseball diamonds, football field. Shabona Park, they really didn't have shit other than an indoor pool, but it was like an Olympic pool, right? So here's what happens. When we used to it was so goofy because it's so funny. I wish somebody would have took a picture of it because it would look like a bunch of white woke kids protesting slavery because we would just have the whole day camp, kids on leashes walking 1.5 miles like master got me working. And so it was just this huge crowd of white kids chained up walking to Shabona Park for 1.5 miles. Now, not only did this feel like 5 miles for a little kid because you're doing double the amount of steps than a grown ass adult with longer legs, but this particular moment that I'm talking about, there was like a heat wave. So it felt like 110 outside. So oh my, I mean, I think it took us double the amount of time to walk to the other park because we had to stop next to every water fountain. Like, I think there was like at least one kid that fainted along the way. So we're walking all the way to this park. We get to the fucking pool. We go swimming for 15 minutes. Some kid was apparently so goddamn hot that he didn't want to go to the bathroom. So he took a long ass 2-foot fucking anaconda shit in this pool. So we walked 2 hours to this park, had to walk all the way back after 15 minutes because somebody took a shit. So that's your bonus story. I don't know. It's nostalgic for me. Don't take a shit in public pools or do it if you don't like it there. Who knows? Thank you for listening.